2012 Chevy Traverse. Got to replace the starter. I'm not even just the slightest bit excited about this. I'm not even going to pretend it. This thing is a disaster underneath here. I'll just give you a quick peek where the starter is on this vehicle. Look at all that leakage. I don't know what it is though. We'll have to look at that once we get this thing up and running. It's got a lot of cobwebs. I can tell from the tires it's been sitting for quite a while. So get it nice and jacked up, safely use. I'm using 4 jack stands for this. So there's what we need to remove, and that's your starter up there. So your route is taking off this, which in the Midwest this isn't going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So we're going to go the other route, removing this. We're going to go ahead and get the bottom of this oil pan braced up so that we can take weight off of this motor mount right here, and then we'll take it off. All right, so we got it nice and braced up, giving us plenty of room not to work with. If you don't have a jack, I don't know what to tell you. Buy some more jack stands, I guess. I'm not sure. But yeah, if you don't have a lift, you know, obviously this is going to be a lot more harder because you have a jack in the way. But yeah, if you want an extra jack, if not, just use a bunch of jack stands like so, and then use the jack to jack up that. So we're going to actually come right here. There's a 18mm holding on the bottom of this engine mount right here. There's the nut right there. So this is a little odd. See those 2 hoses right there that are cut, dripping everywhere. I'm wondering, oh, I'll have to take a look at that. Looks, maybe it's a trans cooler. I don't know. We'll have to chase down those wires too once we get this thing up and running, but that's a little fishy. Already off to a very rough, confusing start on this vehicle. All right, I can see these two. These are 2 15mm bolts. We know these are gonna have to go, so start off with these, I guess. I'm sure there's a bolt on top of the, or maybe a nut or something on top of this motor mount. One. Now if you follow this all the way up, right here, there's another one. I'm about to get a shallow 13mm socket, but there's another. So the one on the driver's side you can get from right there. Now there's one up top on the passenger side. I can't show you. There we go. So what you're gonna, I got 2 6-inch extensions in between the frame and the looks like the radiator. Yes, that's the radiator, not any kind of condenser. So the radiator, you could feed them through the here all the way back to that 15mm. I'm using a deep socket as well. Like I said, I can't get the right lighting in there to show you, but there's a 15mm one on top too. Now I got to remove the nut that's on the top of that motor mount, but they said there's tons of room to put your gun underneath there, so I'm gonna do it a different way. I have this option, you might not. I have a bunch of extensions, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna feed this down onto the top of that, which is right there. See, I have plenty of extensions. Again, you might not have 3, 10, 6, and 6-inch, you know, half-inch extensions, but like I said, I do. So, but if not, they are right. I read up on it. In between there, you got a lot of room to get up there, but it's just, for me, there's just no point. Yeah, it's so nice doing it this way. There's that nut. In theory, there should be nothing holding any of this stuff on anymore. Okay, that's loose. I got the 4 bolts out of here. So let's just try to pry it. Okay, so here's what you're looking at. Now, I took out the wrong bolt. I was wondering why that bolt was a lot longer. See, these are your 4 normal bolts. This really long one. So how it's sitting is this is at the bottom. And what I did was I just saw a picture of this thing and then folded it up. It's literally right below the oil filter, this one right here. Honestly, if you took off the oil filter, you could probably just reach it from the top. But I'm not going to do that. So you got to do an oil change. That's the way to do it. Drain the oil and do that. And that's how you get this off. It was very difficult not doing it before. But since I have done it now, I could probably done this in about 5 minutes. I used a shallow 6-inch and a 3-inch extension. And even then, I still had to use my angled wrench to do it. But anyways, yeah, what you do is follow that up. It's right below the oil filter. All right, that's your starter. See why it's bad? It's completely rusted out. Here's your 2 bolts, but we need to remove this. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to snake that around it. Let's just get rid of that. Oh, hopefully it's correct. It says it's a 13. We'll see. That is, I guess, a negative of having these. Okay, it's perfect. That's coming right off. Don't drop this sensor, but that's what it looks like. That's a knock sensor, I believe. Bottom bolt to the starter is 15. Okay, that one's loose. You guys got. All right, had to get you guys out of my way. Could not film that. Oh, with you guys there in front of me. Okay, I just want to gently pry up on this. I would like to get all this off too, but I'm hoping I can just pull it down and I only seen 2 bolts, so I'm hoping. There we go. I think it's free. There we go. Perfect. All right. Well, we got this clear. That is not a nice looking connector, I'll tell you that. There's usually a locking tab in here. There's usually a locking tab in these. I don't see it. So I think somebody, you know.
Broke it.
All right, I'm gonna try a 14. Usually these power cables are 14. Oh. Yes, it was a 14. Now to save 25 cents, they did not give you one of these. So, oh, and that's not, it just completely rounded. Check that out. That's okay, we got another option. All right, so if you live in the Midwest, just use the 8mm nut, or the outside of that bolt. There we go. Let's get this thing back on. We can go ahead and take off this nut right here for the positive terminal. Leave that one alone. This is just the positive terminal right here. I'm going to line these two up to make sure they're the same connector, which they are. Perfect. Before I put everything back together, I want to go ahead and just show you. Here's the two bottom bolts right here. 1, 2. And then up here is not the one. You're going to grab that one over there. And there's one right there. And there's one way up here. There's your options for that. I got those bolts tightened down. Now I got the motor mount put back in place. Now this motor mount only goes in one way. I didn't take it out. I just set it up by the radiator. I know a bunch of people either take it out, but it's not necessary. So when you're putting it back in here, like that, see there's two holes. One's for the stud, and then you twist it into place. And that one right there, it's a little stud. So we'll get the 18mm nut put on the back on the top and the bottom. But yeah, that's how you know you did it right. It's just find that little stud and then set that in there. I just finished the rest of the things. Put everything back in. Here goes nothing. Perfect. She starts now. I don't want it to run for too long because this thing's been sitting. I want to make sure I check the oil and everything else. I'm gonna go figure out where those cut hoses were at. So stay tuned. There's probably gonna be more videos on this vehicle. I know it needs front brakes and rotors, rear brakes and rotors. It needs an exhaust fix. So yeah, hope that video helped. Like, subscribe, get some merch, and help me and Bentley out. And see you guys next time.